This Wednesday's session in the House of Commons quickly escalated into a full-blown political battleground, with Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner caught at the center of the storm. What was expected to be a routine session of parliamentary scrutiny turned into an uncomfortable moment for the Labour Party, as Rayner came under relentless fire during Prime Minister's questions. From the outset, the Deputy Prime Minister struggled to defend her party's recent strategic blunders. Her body language and tone revealed clear signs of strain, while her responses became increasingly disjointed. Interruptions and jeers from the opposition benches quickly intensified, exposing the fragility of Labour's leadership amid deepening internal divisions. The live broadcast made for compelling viewing, with seasoned Westminster observers describing the chamber atmosphere as tense, combative, and rife with mutual recriminations. Accusations of misinformation directed at the opposition provoked immediate reactions, with visible looks of surprise, disapproval, and even embarrassment among parts of the Labour bench. One of the most talked-about moments came when it was revealed that 122 Labour MPs had signed a letter opposing the government's own welfare reform bill. The signatories argued that the legislation had been rushed through without proper technical scrutiny. This revelation laid bare the deep fissures within the governing party, particularly on an issue as sensitive as the future of state benefits. Despite the mounting criticism, Rayner stood by the policy, stating that the government was investing £1 billion in personalised employment support schemes tailored to individual needs. This funding, she explained, is intended to ease more people back into the workforce and end unnecessary reassessments for those with severe, lifelong disabilities. The goal, she insisted, was not to abandon the vulnerable, but to overhaul a system she claimed had been left in disarray by previous administrations. Nonetheless, the opposition pressed on, accusing Rayner of sidestepping key questions. She was specifically asked to confirm whether Tuesday's scheduled vote on the bill would go ahead. While she did eventually give a clear yes, doubts lingered, particularly among those who drew comparisons to earlier broken promises, such as the pledge to freeze energy payments for pensioners. The government spokesperson swiftly issued a challenge of their own. They would support the bill, but only if Labour committed to concrete steps aimed at reducing welfare spending and encouraging benefit claimants to re-enter employment. The demand was designed to test whether Labour genuinely believed in its own policy, or whether it was simply an exercise in political damage control. The official narrative continued with pointed criticisms of those now calling for reforms that, according to the government, are already embedded within the proposed legislation. It was noted that during Labour's previous time in office, 1 in 8 young people were left out of work, taxes were raised to record levels, and the welfare system collapsed under their stewardship. The debate then shifted to the actual contents of the bill. According to opposition voices, the legislation contains no firm targets to reduce the number of claimants. In fact, projections suggest the number of recipients will continue to rise annually. Moreover, even if the reforms are fully implemented, many respected economists argue that further tax increases in the autumn are virtually unavoidable to close the fiscal gap. This point proved especially controversial, as the Chancellor of the Exchequer had stated in March, following the budget announcement, that he had no plans to return for more tax hikes. In light of the current forecasts, that reassurance now rings hollow for both businesses and the wider public. British companies, already battered by macroeconomic uncertainty, have repeatedly called for a more stable environment. Against this backdrop, the government was once again urged to provide a clear assurance that no additional tax rises would be introduced in the coming months. However, Rayner notably avoided repeating her colleague's earlier pledge, a move that many interpreted as confirmation that tax hikes are indeed on the horizon. Attention then turned to council tax, another politically sensitive issue. While Labour had promised to freeze it, the Institute for Fiscal Studies warned that the latest spending review would trigger the biggest surge in council tax in a generation, amounting to a £7 billion increase. Government officials questioned why Labour continued to claim that council tax doesn't affect working people, when in fact millions of them pay it across the UK. In response, Rayner hit back by reminding the Chamber that council tax had increased every year under Conservative governments. She asserted that her party had kept the 5% cap in place, despite pressure from within to lift it, and had managed to deliver significant funding to local authorities without resorting to austerity or drastic cuts. The government's final assessment was damning. It argued that the current Labour administration is steering the country towards rising debt, persistent inflation, job losses, and an ever-growing tax burden. They claim that not even Labour's own MPs appear fully convinced by the government's strategy, and that public confidence is also rapidly eroding. In response, Rayner said what truly embarrassed her was not the government's position, but the Conservatives' refusal to accept responsibility for the economic mess they left behind. She pointed to recent government achievements, including a substantial rise in the minimum wage, the largest investment in affordable housing in decades, and the expansion of free school meals to 500,000 children. She concluded by drawing a clear contrast between the priorities of the two main parties. While the Conservatives favor unfunded tax breaks for the wealthy, the current government, she claimed, is focused on improving the lives of working families and building a fairer society. Amid this charged parliamentary clash, another high-profile political story came to light. According to official sources, Prime Minister Keir Starmer reportedly ignored the wishes of King Charles by bringing forward President Donald Trump's state visit to September. The royal household had advised a more cautious approach, suggesting an informal visit first, particularly in light of Trump's recent controversial remarks about potentially annexing Canada as America's 51st state. Despite these concerns, Starmer pushed ahead, prioritizing the strengthening of UK-US relations and seeking to capitalize on Trump's well-known fascination with the British monarchy. The formal process is now underway. The official document known as the Manor, required to authorize a state visit, has been signed by the King and hand-delivered to the White House. Trump has publicly confirmed that he will travel to the UK in September, calling it a celebration and expecting a full ceremonial welcome. This will mark his second official state visit, an unprecedented event for a U.S. president. However, Buckingham Palace has not concealed its unease. One insider revealed that the king did not wish to extend the honor of a state visit to a leader who continues to challenge his symbolic authority over Canada. Now we'd like to hear from you. What's your view on the government's handling of these issues? Do you believe the opposition is rising to the occasion? Let us know in the comments. If you found this report informative, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more updates on British politics and current affairs. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.